Coming up on this special summer edition of the Met Report, activities for you to try in Denver.
And have you ever wondered how the Tivoli Student Union became what it is today? A brief history lesson.
And some lucky Roadrunners are inducted to the Hall of Fame. Coming up next.
Hello, and thanks for watching the Met Report. I'm Melissa Teasdale.
And I'm Anthony Kustura. In the face of rising tuition costs, some students are working to raise funds for the school through other means. Reporter Devin Von Miller explains how fellow Metro students are working to keep tuition costs down.
5 days a week, this classroom looks like this. The Metro State Annual Fund Call Center is an organization that raises money for a fund of greatest need here on campus. Many of the call center employees, including all of its callers and managers, are Metro students.
My favorite thing about working in the call center would be talking to passionate alumni who have had a really great experience here and just share everything with you and don't hold back, and so the conversation's not awkward and it just flows and you just hear the passion and the experience and that kind of thing from someone who's attended.
I ask because the annual fund is crucial to the success here at Metro State.
Carmen Mittler, the call center manager, has more on the fundraising aspects of the call center.
I didn't realize that the tuition that we pay, I always thought, you know, it sucks that we have to pay money to go to school at all, but I didn't realize just how important it was to get fundraising from people to offset the cost of that the money that we're bringing in directly helps make Metro State more affordable, things like that.
So remember, the next time you get a call from Metro State, it might well just be a student trying to help out our school. A student like me. Hello, my name is
Devin Von Miller, the Met Report.
Learn how to rock climb and volunteer at the same time. A new partnership at the Center for Urban Connections with Climbing for Life gives Metro students and staff a new opportunity to volunteer. Climbing events are once or twice a month from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. For additional information, please contact Ryan Campbell at 303-352-7129 or at mscd.edu/urbanconnect/events.
It's a nonprofit that specifically works with at-risk and inner-city youth, taking them rock climbing, so to teach them like team building skills, you know, trust and all those kind of things, confidence. And they work with local nonprofits for like summer programming, that type of thing.
Our Auraria campus is full of rich history, but a lot of information goes unsaid and unheard of. Met reporter Ro Baker explains how our student union became what it is.
Have you ever known anybody that's had an original Denver beer? Would it also surprise you to learn that Tivoli, with its Italian-style structure, possesses a seasoned German history? The answers to these questions are only some of the interesting facts associated with this structure's early beginnings that later transformed it to the wonderful student union we have today. With 7 floors, a vast underground basement complete with catacombs, 14 rooms with capacities ranging from 10 people to 700, Tivoli is a Denver landmark with history as fascinating as its architecture.
Got started as a brewery and a community center project in the mid-1800s, really.
First of its 12 buildings, known as Italianate style, was constructed in 1866 by German-born immigrant Mortiz Ziggy on what is today's 10th Street between Larimer and Market. Tragedy befell Mortiz Ziggy in 1875 when his carriage was overturned while riding through the streets of Denver. Ziggy's death, however, did not mark the end of the brewery. Followed by a series of unfortunate financial mishandlings, the facility was purchased by quite possibly the most famous name affiliated with the building's history, John Good.
John Good was, along with his wife Lorraine, were part of a series of owners of the Tivoli. John Good bought the brewery from Maurice Ziggy for one of the rooms that's it's named in here.
Today it provides a wealth of amenities for students, faculty, staff, and guests. Aside from resources, when you look around campus, there aren't very many distinguished historic buildings that have sagas as extensive as the Tivoli. It is advantageous for all students to permit themselves a stroll through this vast historic structure and indulge in Tivoli's rich history. This is Ro Baker for the Met Report.
Calling all film buffs and sci-fi fans, the Denver Film Society and Denver Museum of Nature and Science have partnered to bring you the Sci-fi film series. Every Wednesday night from July 13th through August 10th, a classic science fiction film will be screened. Discussions before and after the screening will take place with experts in film and science who will separate fact from fiction. For a full listings of films and more information, visit denverfilm.org.
Not guilty. Two words that sparked a social media frenzy the second after Casey Anthony was acquitted of allegedly murdering her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee, in Florida. Millions of Facebook and Twitter users, including Kim Kardashian and Sharon Osbourne, voiced their strong opinions on the verdict. One user cleverly posted, this is OJ number 2. Casey Anthony's 4-year sentence for lying to police will be reduced by the amount of time she has already spent in prison. Anthony is scheduled to be released July 17th.
It's that time again when people are starting to think about the presidential elections. And for most citizens, the options are overwhelming. Our political correspondent, Angela Jackson, will highlight a few candidates each show. Angela?
Although more than 16 months away, there is a remarkable number of Republican candidates and only a handful of Democrats in the running for the President of the United States in 2012. But who are they and what do they stand for? First, we start with Michelle Bachmann, the only woman in the race, but so far she's keeping up with the boys. A proclaimed constitutional conservative, Bachmann is the first Republican woman elected to the U.S. House of Representatives from Minnesota. Before that, she was elected to the Minnesota State Senate. The issues she is most concerned with are job creation and growth, a more secure nation, affordable energy, and health care. Second, let's take a look at Herman Cain. Cain has extensive corporate marketing and leadership skills. In the 80s, he managed to turn around a chain of over 400 underperforming Burger Kings, and he later went on to revive the almost bankrupt Godfather's pizza chain. His main concerns are national security, reducing government spending, fixing immigration problems, and energy resources. These names and faces are new, so be sure to follow us as we continue the countdown to election 2012. For the Met Report, I'm Angela Jackson.
Thanks, Angela. Definitely an important update. Now sort of switching gears a little bit and joining me in studio is Jacob LaBure. He is the SGA Board of Trustees student representative. Jacob, thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it. First, I want to talk about the tuition increase that a lot of people know about, but a lot of feedback from students and just a lot of disappointment, it seems like. But why was that so important for the Board of Trustees to vote for the tuition increase?
Yeah, as everybody knows, there was a tuition increase. It's about $370 per semester for 12 to 18 credit hours. And the reason why that's happening is because of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Well, it's a two-part deal. It's because the stimulus money's run out for the federal government, so they're no longer propping up state budgets. But then the second part of it is that the Tabor Amendment doesn't allow state legislators to raise tax revenues. That way they can bring more money into the general fund and put more money out for higher ed. So what you're seeing is that budgets across the state, from everything, from the judicial system to higher ed, are getting slashed. And not to mention revenue, less revenue is coming in because more people are on unemployment and less people are making the same amount of money that they once were. So this is all effect of the recession, essentially.
So did the board look at other options? I mean, the budget cut was pretty much mandatory in order for us to continue having the same resources that we have on campus. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the board did look at where they can cut money from, within the institution. But the problem is Metro is the lowest funded state college in the state, and it's actually the second lowest in the entire nation. So it's running a pretty thin budget as it is. And one thing that now the SGA is looking at, and not only the SGA but also the administration, President Jordan, they're looking at ways that they might be able to get more money from CSHE, the Colorado Commission of Higher Education. From what I understand, is that they're looking at ways to maybe appropriate more money within the budget of higher education.
Gotcha. And switching gears just a little bit, in the most recent edition of the Metropolitan, which is the student publication on campus, there's an article that talks about, and they're pretty frustrated about it, $12,000 that the SGA approved to attend a Republican leadership training. But there had to be a process for people to attend that conference. So was that voted on, and who was it voted on by?
Yeah, the president, Jesse Altum, he actually asked the senator to sponsor a bill requesting $12,000 be allocated to go to this conference. So then he presented that to the Senate, and they hashed it out. It actually, first, I think in the paper, it describes how the bill was actually squashed. And then later they brought it back and decided to vote yes on it, so within the Senate. So yeah, that's something that I think they plan on doing in August.
Gotcha. So even if you agree or disagree with how the money was allocated, it was still voted on, and so you really can't do a whole lot about it.
Right. Well, it was voted on, and it can be, unvoted if you really had a huge aversion to it.
Sure.
Students, if they had problems with it, they're welcome to take it to their senators and ask for, a no vote, or sponsor a new bill, asking to retract the money. So it's a workable process.
Interesting. Well, I'm learning a lot more about politics, especially here on Metro, as we go along, but I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Come see us again.
I'd love to.
Coming up on this special edition of the Met Report, a special musician plays us some sweet songs, and Annalisa Blanco is back informing us of all things Hollywood. We'll be right back.
Believe in yourself, realize that anything is possible, keep your eyes on the prize.
When you're at your weakest point, grace can rise up and pull you out.
So I felt like I was filling a void.
Even when I'm faced with difficult situations, I can always find something to smile about.
Little simple ways. There's really lots of things you can plug into.
Welcome back. We seem to have misplaced one of our reporters.
That's right. That's because we're losing Laura in Denver.
Thanks, Anthony. And hey, Metro, I'm Laura Griffith. And I love Auraria campus simply because it's right in the middle of Denver. After class, you can grab your friends and head downtown, or you can go right across the street to Elitch Gardens. And that is exactly what I did. My friends, Damien and Steven, came along with me to check out Elitch's coolest coasters. And with Damien not exactly being their biggest fan, we had to put him on the craziest, the Mind Eraser.
He's terrified, absolutely terrified, absolutely terrified. Ready? Yes.
Good luck, boys.
Well, that was by far the most terrifying and most fun thing that I have ever done. I'm so glad I got over my fear of roller coasters today.
He may not have liked them before, but as for me, I love them. Well, Elitch's is definitely a good place for rides. Don't forget to check out their fantastic water park.
We're having so much fun here at Elitch's today. Everyone should come here this summer, and I'll be back in the studio later.
Thanks, Laura. I am so jealous. We're working so hard in the studio, but yet she's just across the way at Elitch's just having such a fun time. Can't believe it.
I wish we could get outside like that, but we're stuck in this building.
I know.